That $3 brown bottle hiding in your medicine cabinet quietly does the job of a dozen pricey stain removers sitting on store shelves for 10 times the money. Hydrogen peroxide is oxygen-powered bleach that breaks down into nothing but water and oxygen, with no harsh residue and no ruined colors. Today, I'm handing you 11 laundry tricks so effective you'll wonder why you ever paid for the fancy stuff. Grab that bottle and let's dive in. Number 1. Bring dead, dingy whites back to life. Let's start with the trick that'll save you the most money right out of the gate. You know that sad grayish-yellow tint that creeps into your white t-shirts, your sheets, and your socks no matter how many times you wash them? That isn't dirt you can scrub away. It's a thin film of body oils, sweat residue, and mineral buildup that clings to the fibers and dulls everything down over time. Hydrogen peroxide obliterates it. Because it's an oxidizer, it releases oxygen that chemically breaks apart those trapped organic compounds instead of just pushing them around like your detergent does. And here's the part nobody tells you. Those oxygen bleach powders you've been buying, the OxyClean style scoops that cost a small fortune, are mostly sodium percarbonate, which is just hydrogen peroxide bonded to washing soda in dry form. The second it hits water, it turns back into hydrogen peroxide. So you've literally been paying a premium for peroxide in a fancier costume. To use it, pour about 1 cup of standard 3% hydrogen peroxide, the exact strength sold at any drugstore, straight into your washing machine's bleach dispenser, then wash your whites as usual in warm water. For deeply dingy loads, fill a basin with water, add a cup of peroxide, and let your whites soak for several hours or even overnight before washing. Want to supercharge it? Dry them outside in direct sunlight. UV rays and peroxide are a whitening dream team. Just one rule: never combine it with chlorine bleach because they cancel each other out and you end up with plain water. Number 2, the 79-cent armpit stain eraser. Those crusty yellow stains in the armpits of your favorite white shirts feel like a death sentence for the garment. Most people just toss the shirt. But before you give up on it, know this: that yellow isn't actually sweat. It's a chemical reaction between the proteins in your perspiration and the aluminum compounds in your antiperspirant, and it bonds to the fabric in a way regular detergent can't touch. This 3-ingredient paste breaks that bond apart, and the whole batch costs less than $1. Mix 2 parts hydrogen peroxide with 1 part Blue Dawn dish soap. Then work in a generous sprinkle of baking soda until you have a thick paste. Slather it directly onto the stain, scrub it in with an old toothbrush, and let it sit for at least an hour. Then wash the shirt like normal. Here's why each piece pulls its weight. The hydrogen peroxide oxidizes and lifts the yellow protein and salt complex, the Dawn cuts through the greasy body oils layered on top, and the baking soda adds gentle scrubbing grit while neutralizing odor at the same time. People who've written this shirt off for years report the stains vanishing on the first try. One tip: mix it fresh each time and use it right away, because peroxide slowly breaks down once it's exposed to light and combined with other ingredients, so a stale batch loses its punch. Number 3, vanish blood stains, even old dried ones. This one is almost fun to watch. The next time you nick yourself shaving, get a nosebleed, or your kid comes home with a scraped knee and a ruined shirt, reach for the peroxide before the stain has a chance to set. Pour a little 3% hydrogen peroxide directly onto the blood and watch it erupt into a fizzing, foaming reaction. That bubbling is not random. Blood contains an enzyme called catalase, and the instant peroxide touches it, the enzyme rips the peroxide apart and releases a burst of oxygen. That same violent little reaction is what lifts the blood right out of the fibers. Let it foam until it settles, blot with a clean cloth, and repeat until the stain is gone. The critical rule here is temperature. Always use cold water, never hot. Blood is protein, and hot water cooks that protein into the fabric permanently, which is exactly how people accidentally set a stain forever. Even dried, days-old bloodstains will surrender to this. Just dampen the area first, apply the peroxide, and keep it wet so the reaction has time to work through the crusted layers. It's the reason hydrogen peroxide has been the gold standard for biological stains for generations. Number 4. Rescue musty towels that stink even after washing. We've all pulled a clean towel off the rack only to catch that sour, mildewy funk the second it gets wet. Here's the frustrating truth: those towels aren't dirty, they're colonized. When towels stay damp too long, odor-causing bacteria build a stubborn biofilm deep in the fibers, and a normal wash just glides right over it. On top of that, years of fabric softener and detergent buildup give that bacteria a cozy home. Hydrogen peroxide breaks the whole cycle. Its oxidizing power tears through both the biofilm and the residue that feeds it. You've got two easy options. Either soak the towels in a tub of equal parts peroxide and water for about 30 minutes before washing, or simply add 1 cup of peroxide straight to the drum and run a hot cycle with no detergent at all. Then follow up with a normal wash. The finishing move that seals the deal is drying them completely, ideally outside in the sun. And here's a bonus habit worth adopting. Quit using fabric softener on your towels. It coats the fibers with a waxy layer that traps moisture and bacteria, which is a huge part of why they got funky in the first place. Do this once, and towels you were ready to throw out will smell genuinely fresh again. Number 5. Lift red wine, coffee, and tea stains. Red wine on a white tablecloth. Coffee dribbled down your shirt on the morning commute. That ring your teacup left behind. These are what chemists call tannin stains, deeply pigmented plant compounds that grab onto fabric and refuse to let go, which is exactly why they've earned their nightmare reputation. Peroxide handles them beautifully because oxidation attacks the pigment itself, chemically breaking down the color molecules rather than just diluting them. For a fresh spill, dab or pour 3% hydrogen peroxide directly onto the stain. Let it dwell for 10 to 15 minutes, then launder in cold water. For red wine specifically, add a single drop of Dawn dish soap to the peroxide before you apply it. The combination of an oxidizer and a grease cutter is remarkably effective on that deep purple pigment. Because peroxide has a mild bleaching effect, stick to whites and light-colored fabrics for the straight application, or test a hidden seam first on anything colored. But for that panic moment when your host spills Merlot 2 minutes before guests arrive, this is the trick that saves the tablecloth. Number 6. Disinfect the germest loads in your house. Some laundry isn't just dirty, it's genuinely germy. Think gym clothes drenched in sweat, kitchen rags that wipe up raw meat juice, the bed sheets of someone who's been sick with the flu, reusable cloth diapers, or the face masks that have been recycling your breath. A regular wash gets them cleanish, but it doesn't sanitize. Hydrogen peroxide does. It's an EPA-registered sanitizer that's proven effective against nasty microorganisms, including staph, salmonella, and a range of viruses, and it does it without the collateral damage of chlorine bleach. That's the key advantage. Chlorine bleach disinfects too, but it also shreds elastic, eats away at synthetic fibers, and wrecks anything with color. Peroxide kills germs gently, so it's safe on the delicates and stretchy activewear that bleach would destroy. Just add about 1 cup of 3% hydrogen peroxide to your wash cycle along with your usual detergent, and use the warmest water your fabric can handle. Your load comes out not just smelling clean, but actually sanitized, which is exactly the peace of mind you want during cold and flu season, or after a stomach bug rips through the family. Number 7. Kill set-in body odor and sweat funk in activewear. If you've ever pulled a workout shirt out of the dryer that still reeks of old sweat, you're not imagining it, and you're not doing anything wrong. Synthetic athletic fabrics like polyester are notorious for this. Their tightly woven, water-repelling fibers trap odor-causing bacteria in little pockets that survive a normal wash completely intact. The smell literally lives inside the fabric. Regular detergent masks it for a load or two, then it comes roaring back the moment you start sweating again. Hydrogen peroxide finally solves it because it destroys the bacteria at the source instead of covering it up with fragrance. Before washing, soak your gym gear in a solution of equal parts peroxide and water for 30 to 60 minutes. As it works, the peroxide penetrates those synthetic fibers and breaks down the odor-producing microbes that your detergent kept skating past. Then, wash as usual and dry thoroughly. The difference is night and day. You get gear that actually smells like nothing, which is exactly what clean is supposed to smell like. For anyone who lives in leggings and performance tees, this alone is worth keeping a bottle in the laundry room. Number 8. Restore yellowed heirloom linens and even a wedding dress. This is the trick that gets emotional, and it might be the most jaw-dropping one on the list. That vintage tablecloth from your grandmother, the christening gown passed down through the family, the wedding dress you tucked into a cardboard box years ago and just discovered has gone splotchy and yellow. You probably assumed they were ruined forever. They're often not. White cotton and linen yellow with age for two reasons. The natural oils in the fibers oxidize over decades, and the acids that leach out of cardboard boxes and old paper wrapping slowly stain the fabric from the outside in. Hydrogen peroxide reverses that oxidation. For general age yellowing, mix half peroxide and half water, saturate the piece, then seal it in a plastic bag so it stays wet, and let it sit anywhere from overnight to a couple of days, checking on it periodically. For stubborn brown age spots, what collectors call foxing, dab a bit of straight 3% hydrogen peroxide directly on each spot. Then lay the piece flat in the sun to finish the whitening. Two serious cautions though. This is for white pieces only, because peroxide will bleach colored embroidery or patterns. And for a truly valuable or delicate gown made of silk or an irreplaceable heirloom, don't gamble at home. A professional restoration service uses controlled treatments for a reason. But for sturdy cotton and linen you'd otherwise throw away, watching decades of yellow lift out is genuinely magical. Number 9. Erase grass, mud, and red clay from sports uniforms. If you're a sports parent, you know the special dread of grass-stained baseball pants and mud-caked soccer jerseys. Grass stains in particular are brutal because they're chlorophyll, a deeply bonded plant pigment that grinds into the fibers on every slide and dive. But chlorophyll is an organic stain, and organic stains are exactly what hydrogen peroxide was born to destroy. The oxidation reaction breaks the green pigment down at the molecular level. Squirt a little Dawn onto the stain, splash 3% peroxide over it, and rub the fabric together to work it into a lather. Let it sit for a bit, then toss it in the wash. The Dawn tackles the greasy ground-in dirt while the peroxide dismantles the pigment. This same combo is a lifesaver for the red clay that stains baseball and softball pants, the kind of orange-brown mark that seems permanent after one game on the infield. Pre-treat before it dries and sets, and those uniforms come out looking ready for opening day instead of the trash. It'll save you from buying replacement gear every single season. Number 10. Brighten colors without fading them. Here's the counterintuitive one that trips people up, so let me clear it up right now. Everybody assumes any kind of bleach will strip the color out of their clothes. Chlorine bleach absolutely will, but standard 3% hydrogen peroxide is gentle enough to be color safe, and it actually makes your colors look more vivid, not less. The reason is that colored clothes don't fade because the dye disappears. They look dull because a film of detergent residue, hard water minerals, and body soil builds up on the surface and mutes the color underneath, like a layer of grime over a window. Peroxide lifts that dulling film away and lets the true colors shine through again. So instead of washing out your reds and blues, it revives them. Just add about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of peroxide to your regular colored wash. That said, dye quality varies wildly between garments, so play it smart on anything you're unsure about. Run a quick color fastness test first. Dampen a white cloth and rub it on an inside seam or hem. If no color transfers to the cloth, you're clear to use it. This is the trick that keeps your whole wardrobe looking newer, longer. Number 11. Nuke mold and mildew and the machine that's breeding it. We'll finish with a 2-for-1 that gets to the root of a problem most people fight forever. If you keep finding little black mildew spots on fabric, or your freshly washed clothes come out already smelling faintly musty, the villain usually isn't your laundry at all. It's your washing machine. Modern high-efficiency and front-loading machines are notorious mold factories. Excess detergent and fabric softener build up in the drum and the rubber door gasket. And combined with trapped moisture, they create a perfect breeding ground for mold and mildew, which then transfers its funk onto every load. Hydrogen peroxide cleans and disinfects that whole ecosystem. Pour 2 cups of 3% peroxide into the empty drum and run a hot water cycle with nothing else inside. And do this roughly once a month. If you have a front loader, soak a cloth in peroxide and wipe down every fold of that rubber gasket where the worst of the gunk hides. Then leave the door open afterward so the drum can dry out completely, because mold can't grow in a dry machine. One absolutely critical safety rule to close on: never mix hydrogen peroxide and vinegar together. On their own, they're both great cleaners, but combined they form peracetic acid, which can irritate your eyes, skin, and lungs. If you want to use both, do them in separate steps and rinse in between. Same goes for chlorine bleach. Keep it far away from your peroxide. So there you have it, 11 ways that one humble brown bottle replaces an entire shelf of expensive stain removers. Keep it stored in a dark spot so it stays potent. Always test your colors first and never mix it with bleach or vinegar. Which trick are you trying first? Drop it in the comments. If this saved you some money, smash that like button and subscribe for more. It helps us make more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.